Okay, so home sale contingencies are one of the biggest deal killers in real estate today. And in this session, Calque shows agents how to use guaranteed backup contracts to remove contingencies fast, give clients the confidence to buy before they sell, and walk into every negotiation with a serious competitive edge.
I'll try to keep it simple, but there's a lot to it for sure.
All right, dude. Let us know if you've got a presentation because we still don't see it on our screen.
It says it's processing, so I don't know.
That's always fun. Let me just go to the Calque website and you can guide me. How's that?
That sounds great. So, right. Oh, here it is. It should be up.
Oh, perfect. Let me grab that. You got it. There you go.
All right, perfect. So if you look at the challenges that today's market has created, one, obviously rates are tough, prices are tough, disconnects between seller and buyer expectations of prices are tough. But part of what makes the market structurally difficult is contingencies create risk and they put clients at a disadvantage. And the longer it takes to sell a house and the more of a disconnect there is between buyers and sellers, the greater the risk created by a contingency. So if everybody knows that home prices are just going straight up and they're never going down, you go back to 2020 and everybody's just trying to get a house as fast as they can, then on the one hand, having a way to remove a contingency and make a non-contingent offer is critical to be able to compete on the arriving residents. In a market like today's, where you're trying to convince a seller to go ahead and accept your offer, which is always the purpose as a buyer's agent. When you're trying to convince a seller to accept an offer, the way that really materializes is less in the form of you got to have a non-contingent offer to compete, and more in the form of a non-contingent offer is going to be dramatically more aggressive because the seller is going to be pretty concerned about any contingencies that exist. And so what that translates to leverage for a buyer who can come with a non-contingent offer to negotiate more aggressively on price on the arriving residents. So that's what's different about a balanced or a arguably in a lot of places even a buyer's market versus a seller's market is whether contingency removal is necessary to compete or whether contingency removal gives you a lot of leverage on your negotiation. And
well, I think you've got something here as far as so agents understand what this is really and how it helps them and how it helps us is when we're sitting down on a listing presentation, right? That's one opportunity where we can say, Mrs. Seller, Mr. Seller, here are your options if you don't want to go the traditional route. You found the property that you want. Here's what we can do, right? That's one option, which I always like giving, right? And then number two, if you're currently working with a future seller and saying, hey, we're not sure we want to do this. We want to just make it go fast because we don't want it to sit on the market for a long time. Or we've already identified a home, right? I think these are situations where you can come in and make that happen. The number one concern most agents have is when they use your company, what does my commission look like?
Your commission is still your commission with us. And so let me kind of walk through that a little bit, but we don't take referral fees. We don't cut into agent commission. You have the opportunity to sell the home for full price for 6 months on the open market. And whatever you sell the house for, whatever's in your listing agreement is what you get. Now, if we buy the home, which happens about 2% of the time, 98% of the time, the homes sell on the open market. And first, let me kind of back up and give everybody who may not have heard of Calque an understanding of what we do. We provide a guaranteed backup agreement on the departing residence that allows you to work with the lender of your choice. And we're partnered with a huge array of lenders. So this has become very widely accepted over the last few years. There are very few lenders who don't understand how these guaranteed backup agreements work now. There are very few lenders who don't accept them. And so when you think about the source of a contingency, the reason that the home sale contingency exists is the lender has to qualify your borrower for the debt to income ratio, including the mortgage payments on both properties, the departing and the arriving. Most people in today's market can't qualify for both the home they're living in and the home they want to buy. They just don't have the income to justify both mortgages. And so that means you make a contingent offer on the arriving residence, and you can't close on that arriving residence because your lender can't promise the investor that they're going to sell the mortgage to that there's not a problem with your borrower being able to make payments on both properties. That is essentially the problem that we solve. We work with established lenders. We are not a lender ourselves. We work with established lenders, and there's a huge array of them. We currently, I think the last count, something like 40% of all the loan originators in the country work with one of our lender partners. So it's a huge number.
So I have a question on that, because what people may not understand is this can work different towards our advantage as agents in different markets. So where would this work really well? Like what markets? Because we're split right now. We have 3 markets going on. We have the market where it has a lot of inventory. Things aren't moving as fast as they were. Then we've got markets that are moving quite fast, right? Under a week. And then we got my market, which is just average, right?
Yep. So I would say it can be useful in all markets. The way it's useful differs. So if you're in a seller's market and houses are moving quick, then the benefit is you don't have to make a contingent offer when you're up against a non-contingent offer and risk missing out on the house. And so a non-contingent offer is about 4 times as likely to win a house as a contingent offer in a seller's market. In a buyer's market, a non-contingent offer typically translates to around a 3% to 11% discount versus a contingent offer. And it's easy to kind of check that logic as an agent. If you have somebody come up to you and they say, hey, Tristan, I love your house. I want to buy your house. I'll give you $500,000 for it. I don't know when I'm going to sell my house. I've been pre-qualified for a loan, but I don't know when I can't buy your house until I sell mine. And you say, well, when is that going to be? And I say, I don't know. It's taken about 2 months in this market to move the homes. You're going to go and you're going to look at that. And then in comparison to somebody else who comes up and says, hey, look, I'm going to give you $485,000. I can close in 3 weeks. There's no contingency. You're going to take that 485 all day long and twice on Sunday, right? And so that's really kind of the way that it works in those markets. In a seller's market, it's much more. You may not even be able to compete with a contingent offer, but if you're able to get them over that contingency, it's likely that the departing residence is going to sell as long as it's priced attractively. And so it doesn't necessarily break the transaction. The other thing that can happen in balanced markets or in buyer's markets is you make that contingent offer, you actually get you pay more to get that contingent offer accepted. You think you're going to sell the house in 30 days and the house doesn't sell in 30 days. And so now all of a sudden that transaction falls through, right? We fix that problem. And we fix it by providing a guaranteed backup offer at a discount that works with a lender. And the lender, from a compliance perspective, can look at it and go, okay, this meets my criteria. There's not a contingency on this guaranteed backup agreement. This is not a hand wavy, I promise we'll buy it. This is a contract to purchase the home in 6 months if it doesn't sell on the open market. And so the lender can look at it and go, okay, that's good enough for me to qualify your borrower without having to count the departing resident's mortgage in their debt to income ratio. So now they can close with a conventional loan on the arriving residence. Homeowner can move in, and you can stage, show, and sell a house that you don't have to call somebody an average of 14 times and say, hey, Tristan, great news. I got a potential buyer. Throw the kids in the backyard, put the dog in the crate, scrub the downstairs toilet. I'll see you in 30 minutes. Right? You get to avoid all of that, and they get to avoid all of that hassle. That's
interesting, man. And I think that's very valuable. And a lot of people that have been in this business for a while understand that when you lead with that at the beginning and you're giving options to the people that are selling, some of those may take it because they don't want to go through what they're seeing in those tougher markets. It's like, hey, is our home really going to be on the market for 6 months before we get an offer? Right? Well, you do have another option. Here it is. Now, here's where they'll come in, probably less, but you don't have to go through that 6 months of waiting.
That's right. And 98% of the time, the homes sell on the open market.
Yeah.
So that's a really key thing. We make our money off. We're not here to try to buy the house at a big discount and flip it like an iBuyer. We don't want to purchase the home. We want to charge a fee that is typically around 1% of the sale price of the home on average. And again, you're usually able to use that to negotiate for 3% to 11% less on the arriving. So your homeowner's gonna lose 1% of what they would have gotten on the departing, but they're gonna save 3 to 11% on the arriving, and you're gonna give them a better process.
Dude, I love it. You've got some people on here that are interested. Pam is interested. How do people get a hold of you? I know you got to show a little bit more, but how do people get a hold of you if they have questions or they want to work with you on this? What does this look like?
Go to calqueinc.com, and there's an agent page that'll tell you a lot of information. And if you want to schedule time with one of our team, you can just schedule straight from there.
Okay, I'm gonna steal your screen temporarily. So give me a second. Can you see my screen now, Jeremy or Nick?
I can.
All right, perfect. So this is the page that Jeremy's talking about. You can go, this is specifically for agents, right? You can go and take a look at the rest of them. But when you go down, it's a simple 4-step process here. How it works: pre-approved, your client fills out a 5-minute online questionnaire, right? Boom, next. Bid with competitive offers and win. You submit competitive offers and win their dream home. Great, amazing. Client moves into their home. Now, this is simplifying it, but 4 steps is really what this looks like once you get into it. And to me, it's offering a really, really strong option to some of the people that I've talked to that just don't want to go through this process, man. Because the other piece that you may not be privy to in our market is that we've got luxury sellers that there are 2 things happening there. They don't want to take a long time selling their home because that other property they're emotionally attached to somewhere else. And we're talking millions of dollars. They're like, do we have to wait? We're going to miss that, right? So I love this. Anything you want to add to this?
Nope, I think that's a good summary. The only other point I'd make is, again, if you're looking for someone who's going to buy the departing residence, you're still probably better off with an iBuyer. That's not our business model. If you have confidence that the home's going to sell, it's in market ready condition, then in general, we're going to provide the same level of convenience that an iBuyer is going to provide for your homeowner. You're going to be the one who sells the house. You're going to get to keep your full commission, and it's going to cost your homeowner roughly 20 to 30% of what a traditional solution like an iBuyer would cost, or around 50 to 60% most of the time of what a traditional bridge loan would cost.
Got it. I like that, man. 2 questions. Steven, are there property size caps?
We cap our purchase price at 1.2. And our offers are typically going to be around 70% of value for kind of mainstream, $400,000, $600,000 homes. Now, market by market, mainstream shifts, right? So $1 million house in California is, most places in California is different than $1 million house in Alabama.
Yeah.
And so our offers are going to trail down, and they're going to be a lower percentage of like higher value than the normal value in the market homes. But if you're in California, it's not unusual for us to make a 70% offer on a $1.2 million, $1.5 million property. If it's Alabama, $1 million property is probably going to get a much lower percentage because there's just a lot more variability and a lot more, uncertainty in those properties there.
Got it. Rosa Gomez, how are you? Is this available in Hawaii?
No, 2 states not available: Alaska and Hawaii.
Rosa, you picked the wrong state. I'm so sorry. And we all love Hawaii.
It's a wonderful place, but you walk 100 feet and the value doubles. So we can't underwrite well.
That's funny and true. Kelly, so the full fee would be $3,500 on a $350,000 home, question mark.
So the full fee for our traditional offer is going to be 1% of our offer plus $2,000. So yes, if it's a $500,000 house and we make a $350,000 offer, it would be 1% of $350,000 or $3,500 plus $2,000, $5,500.
Nice. And we get our full commission.
You get your full commission. That does not come out of your commission. If we buy the house, we buy the house for our purchase price, and you get commissioned on the purchase price from us.
Got it.
You don't get the 500. You get the 350.
Perfect. And there are no hidden fees, like when I go to a hotel.
No hidden fees. We may decline a property, and if you want to appeal the property and say, like, we see a crack in the side of the house, and we don't know whether it's a foundation issue or not, and we decline that property, and you come back and go, no, there's no foundation issue. We may at that point say, then we're going to need a foundation inspection, and that foundation inspection will potentially be at the homeowner's expense. It really depends on whether we think it's like our confidence on the condition of the property. We might say, look, it doesn't matter what the inspection says, we're still not going to make an offer. It may be, yeah, you're probably right. We'll go ahead and pay the inspection just so we feel we have peace of mind. It may be severe enough. We say, maybe you're right, but you're going to pay for the inspection. That's the only thing that even looks like a hidden fee. And we'll be very up. Again, it's not something you're locked into. It's only really if you're appealing our decision.
Got it. And then how and when is your fee paid?
Our fee is paid upon sale of the departing residence or our purchase of the departing residence.
Okay. I like this, man. So 48 states, you're all clear. If people have questions, is there, besides that website, if they want to talk to somebody, do they still go through there? Should they email you?
Just call Tristan. He'll answer all questions. Sorry.
I'll send him to Jim Black, dude.
You can go ahead and email info@calqueinc.com.
Info at
calqueinc.com.
Calque.
CALQUEINC.com.
I think I got that right in the chat. And then do me a favor, everybody, scan that QR code if you are in the other 48 states. This is a great thing to add to your listing presentation at the beginning. Always see if it fits into what you're trying to do for your business. And I personally think you have a stronger, everybody else here, real estate agents, you have a really, really powerful approach, or stronger approach, if you're in a market that's got a lot of listings out there. Like this is leverage, a lot of leverage. Anything you want to add to that, Jeremy or Nick?
No, I dig it.
Perfect. Scan that. We're good.
And that and get to work.
Let me remove this slide. Jeremy, go back to playing the amazing game you were playing. I'm joking, dude. Go back to
Tristan, work. And Nick, I'm gonna be asking your uncle for the autograph. So
hey,
yeah,
let me know.
Do it. We'll connect you.
Send the boxes my way.